I don't know whether she's RSS. I don't know whether she believes in Bharatiya Janata Party ideology. Neither do I honestly care. Somewhere down the line in this Hindu-Muslim, the cause got forgot. Nobody talks about the cause. Who is the kid here? Who is the kid here? Those people who stood there, faced the heat, faced the beaten, faced the lathi charge, faced the pellets, everything, and got what they wanted? Or are we kids, juvenile in our brains? Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Just a few days back, the Jantar Mantar protest got over. The Jantar Mantar protesters, kids, they got the government to give them what was rightfully theirs, and that is justice. That is their right to education, that is their right to proper, good, clean education. They got all of that. And the biggest highlight of this particular the protest, like I always said, it was their courage and the fact that it was fought exactly like how possibly our forefathers fought for freedom. It was fought without any communalism, any casteism, any ism. It was fought as students. It was fought as kids, Indian kids, fighting for their rights. Chalo. We also mentioned to you that point in time that, listen, Indian kids taught a lot of adults, older people like me. They taught us how India actually is. This is the original India. We messed it up. We completely mutated the original concept of India. They showed us what original India is. We also spoke about that. Chalo, all that happened. A lot of people sang praises of these kids, everything, and rightfully so. They sang praises of these kids and everything was over. You know what the other adult India, if I may call them, the adult India did immediately after the protest was over? Immediately after the protest was over, there was a tweet from Gitanjali Angmo, that is Mr. Vanchuk's wife. She said, if anyone has shown what it means for India to be Vishwaguru, it is our Gen Z. They have lived Sanatan Dharma, not preached it. Courage without hate, strength without violence, patriotism without obedience. Unlike many other counterparts across the world, they have shown that they can stand firmly against injustice without bringing your own country down. Maybe it is time the Hindu Nationalist Party learned a thing or two from these young Indians about Hinduism, nationalism, and what it truly means to be Vishwaguru. This is what she wrote. Theek hai, chalo. Immediately, there was a whole ecosystem that started calling her Sanghi, that started calling her RSS, and so on and so forth. Her old videos, her old narratives, her old tweets, all of them were brought to light, and they said, we always knew that she was a Sanghi, we always knew that she was RSS, we always knew that she was a member of Bharatiya Janata Party, and so on and so forth. The point is, I don't know whether she's RSS, I don't know whether she believes in Bharatiya Janata Party ideology, neither do I honestly care. For me, I think it was the kids that were important. Not Gitanjali, not Sonam, not Dipke. The kids were important, the cause was important. Somewhere down the line, in this Hindu-Muslim, which we are so typically into, between all this Hindu-Muslim, the cause got forgot. Nobody talks about the cause. Nobody says that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi appointed Nandan Nilekani, which is a good thing to recommend reforms in education, what happens to the earlier recommendation? What happens to those recommendations which was given? Why are they not implemented? Did anybody bother to ask? No, because why? Because we were Hindu Muslims there. We were more interested if Gitanjali Angmo was into Hinduism or RSS or Sanatan Dharma or whatever. We were interested there. Who bothered about educational reforms? Are those kids? Look at what they did. And look at what the adult India is doing. Look at what the so-called intellectual India is doing. I see a lot of senior journalists and people who are super intelligent and all writing about, oh, she is RSS, she is Hindutva, she is Sanatan. How does it matter? Who is Gitanjali, for crying out loud? I am bothered about those kids. Those kids matter. Their future matters. The Prime Minister said that, I'm going to put a fast-track court. Fast-track court. Today was the first hearing and CBI advocate didn't turn up. CBI advocate didn't turn up. What happened? Case pushed to another date. Did somebody say, is this how fast-track court runs? Advocates don't turn up? Did somebody bother to ask? No, because why? Again, like I said, we are busy discussing Hindu-Muslims. There is a CJP protester, Junaid Malik, who has gone to the Supreme Court with allegations that he has illegally been detained by the police and he was harassed in police station. Illegally detained by the police and harassed in the police station. Did somebody bother to ask how many kids are still there in police station? Are there some kids which you are not aware of who are still there detained, languishing? Have we bothered to ask? There is a Supreme Court hearing today, Supreme Court judgment today. Are we bothered to figure out whether all police stations, all states are actually implementing that? Again, like I said, are kids languishing in police station? Are we bothered about what happened to those kids? How are those kids hit? How serious are their injuries? Did the police cross the brutality mark? How brutal was police? Are we discussing all of that? No, we are not. Why? Because we are discussing Bharatiya Janata Party, we are discussing Hindu, we are discussing Sanatan Dharma, and we are discussing Gitanjali Angmo, whether she is BJP, RSS or otherwise. Look at who is the kid here? Who is the kid here? Those people, those young minds who stood there, who fought 26, 28 days, who stood there, faced the heat, faced the beaten, faced the lathi charge, faced the pellets, everything, and got what they wanted? Or are we kids, juvenile in our brains, where end of the day, after everything, Hindu-Muslim? This is the point I wanted to make. Think about it. Think about it. It's a short editorial, but I really wanted to think about it. Because I think this is very important for this nation. I think it's very important for our growth. I think very important for what we build for our children. And unfortunately, I think we are very poor parents. We are a very bad example to these youngsters. We are a very bad example to these youngsters. I hope we don't put our culture, our understanding and our behavior as a pattern in front of them. I really hope. That's the point I wanted to make. Till I see you next time, that's tomorrow at 10, and I hope tomorrow I'll have some interesting topics to talk about, because they're discussing the anti-paper leak today in the parliament. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of things to say. And just beforehand, I hear some names which are supposed to be speaking for the government on the paper leak. And these names till yesterday were speaking against the government. Okay, and these names were till yesterday were speaking against the paper leak. And today they are going to speak for the government on the paper leak. I don't know, what should we believe? What credibility would these people have? What credibility will these people have, and with what consciousness does these people stand and speak? What's conscience? Strange, isn't it? Chalo, so that's my editorial today. I'll see you tomorrow at 10. Till then, namaskar.